Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Paramansa Paribhajaracharya Stakharya Smada Pidikam Saraswati Goswami Bhagavad Jaya Nanda Kori Vaishnava Ki Jaya Ramacharya Sri Haridas Thakur Ki Jaya Names of the whole Sri Krishna Chaitanya Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Puni Jaya Sri Radha Krishna Bhogavna Sam Kanda Radha Kanda Yoga Ki Jaya Vrindavan Dham Ki Jaya Navadvip Dham Ki Jaya Ganga Maya Ki Jaya Jamuna Maya Ki Jaya Dwarka Dham Ki Jaya Swami the Bhaktivinoda Ki Jaya All glories to the All glories to the Thank you very much. Jai Jai Har
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Please accept my respectful obeisances. Please confirm that Chara is the English Laisa Bhaktivedanta showing Prabhupada, all grace to Sri Guru and Gauranga. So welcome to today's Srimad Bhagavatam. Today we are fortunate we have our synagogue brother here, His Grace PANCA GAUDA Prabhu, who is going to be speaking from the Holy Dham, Vrindavan Dham. Thank you very much, Prabhu, for honoring our invitation. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Devotees will be joining as the class goes on. So we'll put the verse on the screen and you can start, Prabhu.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Narang Chaiva Narottamam Devang Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiret Nasta Prayeshu Bhadreshu Nityang Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavat Yutama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. We're reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 5, Verse 41. Marganti Yate Mukha Padma Nidaish Chanda Suparna Rishayo Vivekte Yasyagha Marshoda Sharid Virayam Padang Padang Tirtha Pada Prapanam. Marganti, searching after. I'll just read the translation and purport. The lotus feet of the Lord are by themselves the shelter of all places of pilgrimage. The great, clear-minded sages, carried by the wings of the Vedas, always search after the nest of your lotus-like face. Some of them surrender to your lotus feet at every step by taking shelter of the best of rivers, the Ganges, which can deliver one from all sinful reactions. Purport. The Paramahamsas are compared to royal swans who make their nests on the petals of the lotus flower. The Lord's transcendental bodily parts are always compared to the lotus flower because in the material world, the lotus flower is the last word in beauty. The most beautiful thing in the world is the Vedas or Bhagavad Gita because therein knowledge is imparted by the personality of Godhead himself. The Paramahamsas makes his nest in the lotus-like face of the Lord and always seeks shelter at his lotus feet, which are reached by the wings of Vedic wisdom. Since the Lord is the original source of all emanations, intelligent persons, enlightened by Vedic knowledge, seek the shelter of the Lord, just as birds who leave the nest again search out the nest to take complete rest. All Vedic knowledge is meant for understanding the Supreme Lord, as stated by the Lord in Bhagavad Gita 15:15. Vedaischa sarvar aham eva vedya. Intelligent persons who are like swans take shelter of the Lord by all means and do not hover on the mental plane by fruitlessly speculating on different philosophies. The Lord is so kind that he has spread the river Ganges throughout the universe so that by taking bath in that holy river, everyone can get released from the reactions of sins, which occur at every step. There are many rivers in the world which are able to evoke one's sense of God consciousness simply by one's bathing in them, and the river Ganges is chief amongst them. In India, there are 5 sacred rivers, but the Ganges is the most sacred. The river Ganges and Bhagavad Gita are chief sources of transcendental happiness for mankind, and intelligent persons can take shelter of them and go back home, back to Godhead. Even Sripad Shankaracharya mentions that a little knowledge in Bhagavad Gita and the drinking of a little quantity of Ganges water can save one from the punishment of Yamaraj. Om Jnanatimrandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Shakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistang Stapitang Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we're back hearing the nectar of Srimad Bhagavatam. thank you for the opportunity. Whenever I have to try to glorify Krishna, I feel, well, I have to read a little something as well, so I can say something. Sarvasya chahang hridi sanavishto matat smritir jnanam apohanam cha. The Vedas are definitely spoken by Krishna as it's described here, and the beauty of Krishna, like the Paramahamsas, they're taking pleasure in the petals of the lotus flower, and the Lord's transcendental bodily parts are always compared to lotus flower, because the material world, the lotus flower is the last word in beauty. We can see how many beautiful flowers, the colors, the arrangement, what to speak of, the peacocks, the plumes. But the most beautiful thing in the world is the Vedas. Even birds, if you see some of the birds, how beautiful they are, the color combinations, and when the peacocks are dancing, and when flowers are blooming and the sun is shining on them, we can appreciate that this beauty is emanating from Krishna. And we're giving analogies because obviously Krishna's body is the most beautiful. And the most beautiful thing in the world is the Vedas and Bhagavad Gita. Krishna's personally speaking Bhagavad Gita. Sometimes we think, or maybe not everyone, but some may think, oh, that's just the basic preliminary ABCs of spiritual life. I've read Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada was speaking to one, somebody who was saying, oh, yes, I've read Bhagavad Gita many times. What is your conclusion? I have no conclusion. Prabhupada said, Krishna is God, and you should surrender to God and serve Krishna. So the world is full of books of different philosophies and different philosophers. Some important books have been around for hundreds, maybe 1,000 years, but Bhagavad Gita been around for millions of years. And 5,000 years ago, Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita again for the benefit of all of us. And this knowledge, to understand who is the Supreme Lord, what is our position. In this Vedaischa Sarvar Aham Eva Vedya, Krishna is giving us intelligence, remembrance, and forgetfulness. And when we think nothing happens in this world without the mercy of Krishna, the kindness of Krishna, human life is very, very rare. There was one poem that a person wanting to be happy in this world, so he built a beautiful home. But unfortunately, fire devastated that home, and he felt lost, that my shelter is missing. So we're seeing that Adhyatmika, Adhidaivika, Adhibodhika, that everyone is suffering in this world. But despite the sufferings, the torments of the mind, get off the mental platform. Don't be mental. We get mental sometimes because we're looking for happiness. Everyone's looking for how to become happy in this world. And that happiness is an illusion because people are endeavoring this Adhyatmika, Adhidaivika, Adhibodhika. Either it's too cold, too hot, earthquakes, devastating fires, raging wars, and the samsara, this cycle of birth and death, is prominent, so much so in this world that there's no hope of relief unless we take shelter. And we had no idea how to read Bhagavad Gita or understand Srimad Bhagavatam. Just like we're hearing the story in the Srimad Bhagavatam, how Uddhava was feeling great separation from Krishna. And Uddhava, he's an associate of the Supreme Lord. The Lord appears in this world for the benefit of his devotees. It says prior to Krishna creating everything, there was no Karana Dakshay Vishnu, Garbha Dakshay Vishnu, Shiro Dakshay Vishnu, no Brahma, no Shiva, no living entities. Everything was within the Lord. But Krishna felt some want, some desire to again give a chance to the rebellious living entities, that's us, who want to misuse our independence, thinking that we can be happy in this world, but we're only given a toy machine. This body is a machine made of material energy, earth, water, fire, air, ether. Just like the Lord impregnates just by creating the Mahat Tattva, by his vision, he impregnates all the living conditioned souls which are stuck, encaged in material existence. We're Nityabada, but we don't belong in this world. And it said like a bird may leave his nest, but he returns to his nest to get complete comfort or rest. So we're not going to have the rest that we're looking for by conquering the world, by becoming the president of a country or the emperor, just like the whole Mahabharata and Bhagavad Gita was in Mahabharata, is in Mahabharata. It describes about the Battle of Kurukshetra. 5,000 years ago, Mother Bhumi was feeling great distress due to the armed militant kings who are abusing their powers and not causing her distress. So Lord Brahma, all the demigods prayed to the Lord, please come and save us. So the Lord constantly, Ete Chanksa Kala Pungsang Krishnas Tu Bhagavan Swayam, that he's appearing again and again to save the demigods, to save the devotees, save Prahlad Maharaj. And Krishna, he's fair to everyone. He loves everyone, but every one of us are having the reactions of our own desires and activities. It says that there in every step we're committing sinful activities. Today I had lunch with Ritadvaja Swami, and we were walking back from our luncheon, and on the ground there was so many ants in the sunshine. They were not in the shade, they were in the sunshine. They were, I guess, sunbathing. And I said, Marge, look at all these ants all over the ground. You know, you can't help but this, maybe something you're stepping on the ants, and knowingly and unknowingly, one is forced to commit sinful activities practically in this world just by being in this world of darkness, of ignorance. And no matter how much good work we want to do, we're very, very philanthropically minded, want to feed the poor, and you want to build houses for the homeless, and dig wells and give charity. So many wonderful things we can do to help humanity, which is suffering intensely, because everyone is suffering, just like the dunking of a person who's tied, and they dunk him under the water and practically drowning, dying, and they bring him up for just a moment of air, and you think, such relief, such happiness. Now I'm okay. And that's the madness. That's the illusion, is Daivi Hesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Daratyaya Mame Vaye Prapajante Mayame Tantarantite. This divine energy of Krishna is very difficult to overcome. But if we can surrender to Krishna, Krishna will protect us, give us shelter. Just like the Ganga, Mother Ganga, Lord Vamanadev asked for 3 steps of land, and the second foot went through all the higher planetary systems, right through all the coverings of the universe, and he poked the hole in the celestial world, and the Ganges came flowing. In the 9th canto, there's a description of Asuman, Dilip, and Bhagirath, the son of Dilip. They all performed great austerities to beg. They wanted to bless their descendants, isn't it? We always pray for health of our family, our children, our nation, our good health. So Bhagirath, he was praying to Mother Ganga, and she said, "Well, who will catch me? Otherwise, I'll pierce right through the earth. I'll go down to Patala Loka, to the lower planets, and when sinful people bathe in my waters, I'll be contaminated." So there were a couple of conditions. So Bhagirath performed great sacrifice and austerities to please Lord Shiva, Ashutosh, Lord Shiva. He was pleased. And so Lord Shiva took on the responsibility to catch the Ganges on his head so that the water can be utilized for purification. And then it says the saintly people who live on the Ganges just drinking the water, they maintain very good health. But that's what tirthas, spiritual pilgrimages, are all about. The tirtha is the place where the Lord is remembered and glorified. And saintly persons go to tirthas, go to Ganges. And when the saintly persons go to the Ganges, Jamuna, the sacred rivers, the holy places, then they become free of the sins, because many pilgrims come and they want to get purified, but sinful people, everyone's sinful in this material world. So without Krishna's mercy, without the tirtha, the holy tirthas, Vrindavan Dham, with Mayapur Dham, Dwarka Dham, there are so many holy places where the Lord performed his wonderful pastimes, all the way from Hastinapur, Mathura, Dwarka, where Krishna appears and performs his activities. These all become holy places. But one cannot appreciate and one cannot see Krishna or appreciate the spiritual gifts and benefits of the Lord, who's covered by material desires and who has a stubborn nature of not surrendering to the Lord. And what does it mean, surrender? Om Jnana-timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, but my spiritual master is opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto my spiritual master. Spiritual master is the mercy incarnation of the Lord manifest, the Lord in the heart, Paramatma. He's guiding us internally. You know, when you do something wrong, you feel a sense, or you are a little bit extra harsh with someone, you may feel a little bit regret, or sometimes, why did I do that? That's a very bad decision. Or, sometimes we catch ourselves, our consciousness is there. Krishna, as Super Soul, is guiding us and giving us what is right and what is wrong. But when someone is a little bit fortunate, agyata sukriti, or made fortunate by the blessing of a saintly person, just like Uddhava was conversing or discussing with Vidura, and Vidura is older, and Uddhava, he was just ordered by Krishna that you go to Badarika and you have to fulfill the mission of he instructed Arjuna, Krishna instructed Uddhava, so Uddhava was going to carry the message of the Lord for preaching purposes. But when Vidura, who is Yamaraj himself, and Yamaraj is one of the Mahajanas, so naturally he's already enlightened, but a devotee can never have enough nectar of hearing about Krishna, Krishna's pastimes, and Krishna Katha, that he was trying to hear from Uddhava. Uddhava said, well, you go and hear from Maitreya. Maitreya was also present before the Lord, and Maitreya can deliver he's Paramahansa, great devotee. He will give you that pleasure of hearing of Krishna Katha. So Vidura, Yamaraj, approached Maitreya and glorified and questioned him. Also, such questions, just like Parikshit Maharaj is asking Shukadev Goswami about, what is the purpose of life, the goal of life, how to achieve the goal of life. And so Maitreya became enlivened that you're asking such beautiful questions of how to give kindness and mercy to conditioned souls and also the glories of the Lord. So Maitreya, he is giving or speaking about this Krishna Katha. So Srila Prabhupada, he is Shaktivesh Avatar. The Lord appears, and sometimes it says generally the devotees from the spiritual world don't come to this place, but for the purpose of preaching and giving knowledge to the conditioned souls, they sometimes come as Shaktivesh Avatar. And Srila Prabhupada, he is delivering the message of Krishna in a very suitable way, depending on time, place, and circumstance. And in the Vedic literatures, the Upanishads, there are many processes for self-realization based upon the desires of the persons who are pursuing that knowledge. And many teachers are giving different understandings of what is the ultimate absolute truth. And most are impersonalists. They think that, we are all that same one God, but we're temporarily covered over. Many philosophies are there and can be very misleading. But the real treasure, the real essence is available, but unfortunately, those who are Bogaishvarya, Prasaktanang, Maya, Parhita Chetasam, because we're enamored so much by the desire for sense gratification that we're thinking that no, my family, my wife, my job, my economic condition, my house, everything, these are very important. They're important. And we have a sense of responsibility and duty to perform. Prabhupada never said that one should be careless and irresponsible and leave his duties in an immature way. But once one can actually mold his life in such a way to optimize, to increase his hearing and chanting, although we may not have the taste, even Lord Chaitanya is saying that your unlimited holy names are there, but I have no taste for the spiritual life. Only due to our diseased condition. That diseased condition is that we're eager for sense gratification because our pure love of God is covered. This Krishna Prema, Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya. We all have love for Krishna. It's that's the soul's identity. Jivera Swarup Hoy Krishner Nitya Das. And that pleasure of serving Krishna and reciprocating with Krishna in awe and veneration as a servant, as a friend, as a parent, as a lover. Everyone's looking for love in this world. Everyone wants to be loved and cared for. So relationships develop. But if Krishna is in the center, we can utilize everything in Krishna's service. Family can be beautiful in Krishna's service. But sometimes it's more difficult if one is not regulated and trained in spiritual life. So life is passing us quickly. The time element is destroying each and every one of us. You had a youthful body. You could run up and down the stairs. You can jump and dance and be ecstatic in kirtan. Now you maybe only shuffle and clap your hands and walking a little slower. The knees are not working and arthritis is setting in. The eyes are becoming weaker. The hearing is becoming weaker. And our ability and strength is all deteriorating right before our very eyes. And although previously living entities may have lived in the different yugas, longer durations of life, 100,000, 10,000, 1,000 years, now 100 is the max. And barely, I know my mother's 92, 93. She says, don't get this old. It's very difficult, arthritis, and you can't, need so much help just to move around. So people think, oh, if I can live to 100, that's great. I can stay healthy and live to 100. But the human life is such a rare gift that, but to awaken one to the urgency of taking up Krishna consciousness and how we can increase our hearing and chanting about Krishna. Not that, okay, I read 15 minutes this morning, I'm done. I did my rounds, put my bead bag down, I'm good to go now. Yes, 64 rounds was considered the norm. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta said if one is not chanting 64 rounds, he's in a fallen condition. Srila Prabhupada, he analyzed the Kali Yuga. He said, well, first of all, why you brought me to this place full of ignorance and passion? They're never going to accept love for Krishna. And people, especially in the India, thought that Priti Vite Yachayada Nagaradigram Sarvatra Prachara Hoibe Nam, that the holy name was spread all over the world with just an allegory or some kind of story. But Prabhupada took the message from Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Rupa and Sanatan Goswami. He was in Radha Damodar servings where Jiva Goswami, Rupa Goswami, Samadhi's there. Many beautiful stories. And how Prabhupada, just in deep, deep loving devotion, he took this Srimad Bhagavatam armed with the weapon of transcendental knowledge, because the incarnation of the Lord in this age, Akali Kalir Dharma Krishna Nam Sankirtan, or Golokya Prema Dan Hari Nam Sankirtan. The holy name is an incarnation of the Lord. The Lord is present in his name. But Srimad Bhagavatam is an incarnation of the Lord. And Srimad Bhagavatam is the spotless Purana, Amala Purana. The Vedic literature is the most beautiful literature. Why? Because it is directing us, guiding us how to awaken our love for Krishna. Just like if you're lost and you have a map and a good guide, and you can get to your destination without fear of getting lost and eaten by the tigers and lions, or fall into the quicksand, or be burned alive, or eaten by cannibals. Everyone is struggling, everyone is suffering in this material world. But even the hog who is eating filth, eating stool with his little piglet babies and many lovers, he's thinking, no, I'm happy. I don't want to go anywhere. We've heard that story how Indra was cursed. Sometimes the demigods, they have to take on different roles. And he was cursed to be a hog, and Lord Brahma said, okay, you need to come back, attend to the heavenly planets. What is heavenly planet? I have my family, I have my responsibilities, my duties. I'm happy here. Leave me alone. So this is the situation that we find ourselves in. By good fortune, maybe we're not that special. We're just fortunate that Prabhupada and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's flooding everyone. He's feeling, okay, Kali Yuga, the conditioned souls, they're not very serious about spiritual life. They're short-lived. They get angry and disturbed very easily. They're always warmongers. We want to fight, fight, fight. It's my land. No, I want the wealth. I want the power. I want the adoration, distinction. And Lord Chaitanya said, Nadanang, Najanang, Nasundari. I don't want anything from this world, because you come in this world with nothing and you leave this world absolutely with nothing. And so all those big empires that we build, and the family members that we've nurtured throughout life and worked hard, slaved, working like a dog day and night. But this is our happiness. No, no. I take great pleasure. I'm a responsible person. I want to be able to help my family. And that helping family, community, and altruistic spirit also is our own sense gratification too, that we're thinking, oh, you see how important and how big man I am? I can do all these things. People will appreciate and glorify me. I can give contributions. I have a nice name plaque, and people will say, oh, he was such a very wonderful person. He gave so much to society. But the real shelter is the pure devotee. Why? Because he's glorifying Krishna. He's glorifying the process of bhakti, devotional service. And devotional service is made so easy if we by chanting Krishna's holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. When Prabhupada was not lecturing in big pandals or going for the morning walk or giving the class and guru puja or speaking to government leaders and different big priests and just constantly moving and going, even the privacy of his own rooms. My friend Shruta Kirti Prabhu would mention that Prabhupada would be reading his books, chanting, walking, chanting japa. And it's not like he had to make some kind of profile image of himself that, oh, and then in private life or at home, he's different. Prabhupada, he was setting an example, just like Krishna, he showed us how to behave. First he came in Vrindavan Leela and cowherd boy, the importance of Gomata, the cow, the milk, and Govardhan Hill. And no need to be worshiping the demigods. You should worship Krishna in the form of in this devotional service, and then the sporting activities with all his cowherd friends, joking, having fun, and then the love that the gopis and Mother Yashoda and everyone had, and how Krishna was protecting at every moment. These are historical, not just imaginary mythology or stories. The Bhagavatam is just so powerful, and the Vedic literatures, all the just imagine the millions of verses of the Vedic literatures Vyasadeva put together so much for every person of every walk of life, so that if you have material desires, okay, worship in this way, worship in that way, and then gradually get purified. But in Kali Yuga, we go beyond all the rituals and all the gradual process right to the essence that you simply chant the names of Krishna, you hear about Krishna, you associate with devotees, you live in the holy dham. The temple is the holy dham as well, and one's home can become a holy dham by worshiping the deity and chanting the glories of Krishna and hearing Krishna's pastimes. So devotional service, by hearing about Krishna and chanting Krishna, we're praying to Krishna, please give me devotional service. I want to do something. And what is that we should be doing? We should be eager to spread Krishna consciousness, be participant in the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. We may see many faults. There's definitely faults in every society, but the real ISKCON is Srila Prabhupada's mission. It's actually an incarnation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission and mercy to flood the conditioned souls with this Vedic knowledge. And because Kali Yuga is progressing more and more, we're only in the beginning of Kali Yuga, it's going to get much worse. But we see the destruction and we see the pain and agony and suffering of the conditioned souls. So naturally, para dukkha dukhi, devotee is very kind. Titikshava karunika suhrida sarvadehanam. We're very tolerant. We should be very tolerant. We're not very tolerant, but we should be very tolerant, merciful, and kind to all living entities. And that kind of mood, Trinada Pisu Nichina Torora Piseshuna, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly if he's humbler than the grass, more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, ready to offer all respects to others without any expectation of respect in return. These are high standards. These are high qualifications. But in the association of devotees, we become encouraged and enlivened that, yes, I want to also do something for the pleasure of Srila Prabhupada and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We're insignificant. Jivera Swarup Hoy Krishna Nitya Das. I was reading Mukunda Mala Stotra and King Kulak Shekar said Das, 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 7 times removed, the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant. And just lip service and not just, artificial humility. Or Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami says I'm worse than the German, the stool. Not that one take it literally like that, but the mentality of the devotee is one of that I am simply a servant. Even all the queens of Krishna, we're maidservants, the gopis. Yes, we give up family, we give up social customs, even though we're being chastised by husband, brother, and father, and the whole, everybody will condemn us. But still, because Krishna's playing his flute and he wants to have a loving exchange, and they came in their spiritual bodies. We cannot understand everything from our limited teeny brain. We're living in our own little well. How we can understand the massive ocean, Pacific Ocean, or that disk, the sunshine, the bright sunshine. We're just a little molecule of ray, but the brilliance of the sun is Krishna. And Krishna wants that we should all be happy and come back. The Father is always thinking about the suffering of his children. And sometimes he sends his representatives, he personally is coming, but he won't interfere with our minute independence. We have this independence, but if we misuse our minute independence, then Mother Nature takes charge. Prakriti kriyamanani gune karmani sarvashaha, or mayadhyakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam. Krishna is controlling the material nature, and the judge may be awarding $1 million gift to somebody, and somebody may get a death sentence. Not that the judge is partial or not equal to everyone. He's simply reciprocating according to our desires and our activities. And then our body is formed. Our mother and father is already there waiting so that we can come into this world and again continue pursuing our desire for happiness. But in the desert, there's no water. In the material world, there's no real happiness. Real happiness comes by awakening our Krishna consciousness. And we all struggle with the mind. We all have desires. No one's desireless. Not that we're going to become a silent meditator in the Himalayas or become totally renounced. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta criticized that. What kind of cheap person is this, pretending that he's a renounced, advanced person thinking of money and women? Because that's what sense gratification is all about, wealth and enjoying the pure love, which is soured and turned into lust in this world. But how to get free of that? Yat karoshya dashnasya jahosi dasyat. Whatever you do it for Krishna's satisfaction. Akama sarvo kamova moksha kamo daradi. Tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. You might be full of desires, no desires, I'm a renunciate. Doesn't matter. You chant Krishna's name, you hear, have a regular sadhana, a steady sadhana. Don't make our own, how you say, program that, oh, let me change it, adjust it a little bit, for a little suitable for my purposes. Prabhupada gave us a beautiful program. If you can go Mangal Artik, that's great. If you can go to Guru Puja, that's great. Do it at home. Sing it, hear it, chant Krishna's name, and always stay in the association of devotees. I know Krishna consciousness sounds very repetitive. Oh, I've heard that so many times. But we have a tendency of forgetting very quickly. And when one is suffering and in great agony and pain, you pray, oh, Lord, please free me from the suffering. It's just too intense. But when one is feeling a little bit better, the sun is shining, the breeze is blowing, again, we're thinking, oh, now I can enjoy. No worries. So this is the great gift of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta empowering, Srila Prabhupada empowering his sincere followers who have dedicated and sacrificed, not sacrificed, but, you know, we may have given up our lifestyle, we may have given up our comfort home and comfort life, but time is taking it all away from us. And so we should utilize whatever time we have, whatever energy we have for spreading Krishna consciousness and for giving an opportunity for others to hear about Krishna, whether they take or don't take. But the more enlivened we are, the happier we are to be part of Krishna's family, Prabhupada's family, taking prasad, singing and dancing, festivals, very colorful. A lot of lotus flowers. Everything's very beautiful and colorful when Krishna's there. So we should continue. Any difficulties, Krishna will help us. Always keep the association of the devotees, because this is what devotees do. They glorify Krishna, and wherever Krishna is being glorified, satang prasangang mama virya sangvidho. Wherever Krishna is being glorified together, Krishna is present there. He's not in the hearts of the yogis or the mystics, or he's just floating on outer space or in the spiritual world. Yes, he's in the spiritual, he's everywhere, but especially where the devotees are chanting his glories and hearing about Krishna with eagerness, that one is eager to hear, enthusiastic to hear, then the effect takes more rapidly, sinks in. So this loyam, intense desire that I intensely want to serve Krishna. I want to go back home, back to the spiritual world. But once one is serving Krishna, he's happy in his service in any capacity. So this is the beauty of our Krishna consciousness, that we can go on hearing and chanting. We don't become satiated or bored. That the more we hear about Krishna, Krishna's beauty, his kindness, and the kindness of the devotees, it's invigorating, it's enlivening us. And I hope that maybe a few words that I said were enlivening, and I'm trying to enliven myself. But we started a nice new project here in Vrindavan, and we're going to make more facilities so that devotees, when they come, they can also have a nice experience of Krishna consciousness in Prabhupada's home, Sri Vrindavan Dham. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna. If you have any questions, we can spend some time with that.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for this wonderful Srimad Bhagavatam discourse. Dear devotees, if anyone may have questions, comments, realizations, you may want to ask, share, please indicate by using the hand emoji or your physical hand. And you'll be asked to unmute to ask your question. to share. But when you're talking about the weather, it is wickedly cold here.
Where are you? Where are you?
I'm in Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yes, it's
Well,
very cold.
Vrindavan was cold, but the last couple of days it got a little warmer, so we're happy.
Yeah. So one may understand why Srila Prabhupada referred to London as hell when it was snowing and it was so cold. Probably I have one quick question about Srila Prabhupada's comment in the purport that in India there are 5 holy rivers, and the holiest amongst them all is the Ganges. If I'm not mistaken, I have also heard that Yamuna is actually much holier than Ganga. If you may throw some light on this, please.
Yeah, even when Pariksit Maharaj, it says that he was, sat on the bank of the Ganges. There's a, place where the Ganges and the Jamuna become one. And in general, it is, but Krishna's being in Vrindavan and Lord Balaram and Krishna bathing in the Jamuna is a lot of times they say this is the most sacred, and this is most sacred, and that's the most sacred. So the Ganges is right from the lotus feet of Krishna, and Krishna's lotus feet were in the Jamuna. So I would say, I guess you can look at it in many different ways. But there are holy rivers, and the holy rivers are an opportunity. But still, if one is not just going and bathing, but not hearing the glories of the Lord, that many people, like in Vrindavan right now, we're getting thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of visitors. It's become like a Disney World for some people that they just want to come for the sake of having a good time and with their friends. But if it says if one doesn't hear from the pure devotee and just ceremoniously visits some of the places, then they don't get the full benefit. I didn't answer your question totally, but the Jamuna and the Ganga are right up there as the most sacred of both. But here it's describing that Ganga is the most sacred.
Well, thank you for answering my question. I was thinking, and I think my thought was also shared by your humble self, that for devotees, it seemed to me that the Yamuna is much holier, much sacred, but to the general populace, the general world, Ganga is understood to be the holiest. That is my understanding. But
Well, it's like right now we have a big Kumbh Mela, and I'm in Allahabad,
yeah,
and it's millions and millions of people are going, and there's many high holy days, which is most to get the nectar, the nectar and the purification. But in my mind, I'm thinking, I'm already in Vrindavan. I have Krishna Balar. I can sit in front of Krishna Balaram and chant the holy name with devotees. Is nothing could be better. So it's just a matter of also understanding that Krishna is available, and Krishna's holy dham is there. So we sometimes they say that the devotee or the pilgrims in Calcutta, the Ganges is there, but they want to go to Haridwar because they think the source of the Ganges is more potent or something different there. And so a lot of it is satisfying to the pilgrim himself, that he undergoes the austerities to go to the sacred place to get the benediction. And although he could have still got the same benefits, but I think the intention of the pilgrim to seek purification by making the austerity and endeavor to go to Ganges or the sacred rivers, the holy places, the Kumbh Mela, or even Vrindavan, Mayapur. These are all very. I think the holy Dham is purifying everywhere, but also to the degree Yeyatamang Prapajate Tang Satai Bhajam Yaham. As we surrender to the Lord, He rewards accordingly. So I think all of that's meant to inspire our devotional interest, to be more introspective and more eager to have Krishna consciousness. That's just a little take on it.
Well, thank you so much, Prabhuji. Anyone else with something to ask or share? Madhuvan, Prabhu, please you me on mute. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. All glory, all praise unto your Lord. Thank you very much for your wonderful lecture. We really appreciate your comment. My own comment or my own concern, I could see that you people are having a very wonderful Krishna conscious life, Vrindavan, Mayapur, and so on. But actually, are you hearing me, Prabhu?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Please, I want to draw our attention to other areas, like Africa, for instance, and maybe about my own temple in particular. It's been an old temple, a long time. I've been visiting the temple since maybe 1986. But somehow, I could see that our standard appears not to level up with other religious organizations around us. And because of that, Krishna consciousness doesn't look quite attractive to others. So it gives me some concern. Unlike other organizations like maybe Catholic, you can see that they try to maintain general standards in all their churches. So I think something has to be done in this respect, so that we don't just concentrate on Vrindavan, Mayapur, all these places, which has already turned into places of pilgrimage. I think the same thing can also happen in other remote areas. So that is just my concern. Then secondly, we talked about in the last statement in this text, it was mentioned that drinking of the little water of Ganges water. But from stories we used to hear recently, they said the water is not for drinking. Maybe they have been drinking it some hundreds of years in the past, but we must realize that there's a lot of pollution. So that is my question. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Very, very good question. There was one devotee that was all alone in one temple. Prabhupada said, that's, just be patient. And, if you're lecturing, you could, the Krishna will help arrange. There's many, many temples that are, I'm sure, in need of assistance, because obviously if you have ecstatic Mangal Arti, nice kirtan and chanting and dancing and many participants and beautiful deity decorations and festivals, and you're in a place that kind of all engaging, then you might feel more enlivened. That's for sure. But at the same time, a lot of the pioneers and devotees that assisted Srila Prabhupada underwent austerities struggling to maintain. And our society is still very young, although we have some big temples and some nice arrangements. There's also difficulties there. One devotee saying, "Oh, there's too much Maya in the temple." You know, Prabhupada said, "Well, you show us that place. There's no Maya. We shall all go there." You know, this is the kingdom of Maya. It's very difficult. And as far as the sacred river, sometimes during the rainy season, there's foamy or there's maybe a little bit appear not clean. But still, devotees, they believe in the Shastra. And of course, you have to be conscientious because also a lot of pollutants go into Jamuna as well, coming from all the way from Delhi to Vrindavan. So there has to be some endeavor to clarify. When I came here back in the 90s to live here, 93, the water was, very blue and very crystal clear. But in recent years, it seemed that it's been contaminated to some extent by the industry and the neglect of people and the pollutant, they're not taking care. So we have faith in the scripture, the holy name, but at the same time we have to use our common sense, logic, and reasoning to a certain extent that we not that we start evaluating all our spiritual principles and try to modernize them and try to keep everything according to our ideas or standards of purity and whatnot. So there is the benefits are there for those who actually have the faith, and we may have to just use our intelligence. Krishna give us intelligence from within, how to stay enlivened or how to enliven others and make our temple more enlivened. If we ourselves, we can't just think that others will do it. That as a manager, I feel my main responsibility is to be at the programs, at the temple, and try to encourage and enliven those who are, taking interest. So even if you have 2 or 3, that we need to somehow spark it up in such a way that more will come and things will get more lively and our Krishna consciousness will expand much more rapidly. But at the same time, we'll feel that we're engaged in assisting Srila Prabhupada and spreading Krishna consciousness in our own little ways. This will be the blessing of the Guru will come. We'll be empowered. I'm not sure if I answered all your questions, but that's what I had to say.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
At least I created an awareness that we are also here in Africa. Don't forget us here. We only need improvement on our infrastructure. Any effort it will help along. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Well,
in Vrindavan also, with so many people and the sewage system and the dirt, and people think, oh, it's so, but beyond the externalities, it's still Braj, it's still Vrindavan, and there's still a spiritual, radiance that's there. So we need to see beyond the pollutants, and of course, it'd be wonderful if we could, as a government and as a society, do as much as we can for cleanliness and godliness. But with so many masses of people and the infrastructure the way it is, I don't see how it can be, as beautiful as we envision it, as described in the Vedas, with flowers and beautiful and yeah. But there is beauty. There is beauty. But one has to have the premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena, salve of love, then you'll see beyond the externalities and see the spiritual potency is there, it's available.
Well, Hare Krishna, thank you so much, Prabhuji. I have few comments on this topic, one of which you just shared, because I am thinking that just as it is said in the scriptures, like sometimes the way Srila Sanatana Goswami ate, he sometimes ate from the dumpster. Sometimes he ate from like refuse, prasadam, but he never felt sick by eating such prasadam. If I ate such prasadam, I'm 101% sure that even though it's Krishna's prasadam, but I'll fall sick because of my consciousness. So if someone's consciousness is not imbued with this prema charita, like you quoted, I don't know all the Sanskrit words, then we don't have to imitate. Like you said, we have to use our God-given intelligence to do things. One other thing I also wanted to share and also get your opinion is that I'm not sure whether I read it or I heard somebody say it, but in either case, Srila Prabhupada had said that we should not try to make him Napoleon Bonaparte. Napoleon Bonaparte was going into different empires and conquering different empires. And then after he conquers them, he leaves and nothing happens. So even though he conquered, but nothing really took place. So Srila Prabhupada, in other words, doesn't want us to just go out there and try to make more devotees, whereas we are not taking very good care of the very devotees we have. And if we are unable to do that, if we are unable to take very good care of the devotees we have today, I believe that people do more from what they see than what they hear. So if people see that, oh, if you join these people, they don't care about you, then that might not attract others to join us. So to me, the starting point is if devotees love each other and care for each other and try to, in our own humblest attempt, serve Guru and Krishna, those who are ready will come. This is my opinion. So Prabhuji, if you have something to share on this, please, we really appreciate it.
No, your opinion is correct. Prabhupada giving lecture and devotees are coughing, and Prabhupada said, "Oh, you're not giving them proper clothing, and you're not taking care nicely. No, you must take care nicely. You must." And Prabhupada was so focused on detail and very personable, would see that devotees, maintain good health and take care of one another, as you're mentioning. He said, now we need to boil the milk. We're not just looking for numbers and numbers and numbers. We want to, cultivate those who are taking up the process of Krishna consciousness and take care of them nicely as well. But the preaching mood, if the mood should be there, just like Prabhupada wanted so many books to go out and preaching should carry on. But he also was very much concerned that devotees took care of one another and took care of their health, because without the health, nothing else works. Then you can't carry out your devotional service. When Sanatana Goswami was suffering from the sores and itches by traveling and drinking different contaminated waters, and he was feeling very bad because Lord Chaitanya would embrace him, and the oozing sores would go on Lord Chaitanya, and so much so he wanted to kill himself. He wanted to leave Jagannath Puri. He didn't want to put Lord Chaitanya through suffering on his account. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told him that, I'm embracing you, I'm having great pleasure to be with you in this capacity. But it wasn't that we're just going to now let the devotees suffer and struggle in the name of, renunciation of Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada wanted that we take care of all the devotees, and we're striving for that. And we should actually, but sometimes I've noticed that some devotees think, well, it's just the leader's responsibility. The GBC should do something, the presidents should do something, or those who are in position should do, what can we do? They should do something. It's true, but it also works on the individual level, that if we ourselves are motivated to be a participant, to help spread the mission, and also are kind to others, and assisting, wanting to serve the devotees in a genuine way, then it works as a team, a whole team. And the more we're concerned about it, and the more we bring it out in the open front, that we need to become. There's one story. One Mataji was saying Prabhupada was in the middle of a festival. He was not, his health was not good. At the same time, he's directing everything. There's so much going on, and she brought her mother made some guava jam, and she gave it for Prabhupada. And Prabhupada said, "Who was that person who gave this jam? Find out." And so they found the girl, and she said, "Oh, my mother made it for you." And so he said, "Well, give me your mother's name and address." And Prabhupada took the time to write a beautiful letter to the mother in appreciation of the mother's gesture of love. And she said, "Oh, my mother used to make me this jam, and I really liked it. So I really appreciate that you did that." And so the girl whose mother gave the jam, she was just so stunned by Prabhupada's attention to such not little, but the details of reciprocating with the mother and appreciating the girl's efforts of such a small little gift, that she just was endeared to Prabhupada in that way. In the same way, with caring for Prabhupada would always looking out for the welfare and the health and the physical, spiritual nourishment of his devotees, and encourage the leaders to take responsible steps to help ensure that devotees are taken care of properly. So that's our responsibility as well. Whatever we can do to help one another and increase our ability to hear more and chant more and serve more and spread the message of Krishna consciousness, then we're doing the right thing.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Anyone else with something else to ask or to share before Prabhuji leaves today? Oh, Her Grace Mitravinda Devi, Hare Krishna. Thank you. Please, you may unmute.
Hi, Prabhu. I just wanted to say, Prabhupada, thank you so much for being here, Prabhu. I just wanted to say what you just said sounds a lot like cooperation. Thank you. Thank you for that wonderful reminder. Hey, Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. I remember like cooperation, taking care of devotees, working together as a family. These were like the main themes of my Gurudev's preaching, His Holiness Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj. And I mean, we all know it is not so easy cooperating with people, but it is the very thing that will get us closer to Krishna. That is why it is not so easy. So we pray. We pray that we will be able to cooperate, and we all serve the Lord and the Guru with one aim, that is just to please Guru and Krishna. But Prabhuji, there is this thing the question, it's a question, but it was more of a comment from His Grace Madhuvan Prabhu. It is quite disturbing and frustrating sometimes, to say the least, that we are preaching and yet we are not attracting people. And sometimes you begin to wonder, what do I need to do? But I remember one time His Grace Shriman Varaha Acharya, who is one of our senior devotees on this forum, he's not here today because of some engagements, but he was saying that just as sometimes a devotee goes out to do book distribution and is unable to distribute books, he says, he comes back to the temple and he says, it was too difficult, I couldn't distribute a single book. But probably it's because he's not been trained as to how to distribute books. I mean, book distribution is not easy, but if one is trained, one will still try to go out to distribute books, because if even no book is distributed, the effort in itself is glorious. But my question to you, Prabhuji, is that, like Madhuvan Prabhu said, why is it that most of us are so much anxious in traveling and sometimes wanting to live in the places like Mayapur, Navadvip, Jagannath Puri, Sri Vrindavan? These are all recommended in the scriptures that one should try to visit such places. So I'm not saying we shouldn't, but why is it that we understand the importance of such holy places, but we are not ready to create one? You know, my Gurudev decided to leave his body in Gitanagari Dham because he wanted to tell the world that wherever Srila Prabhupada has visited is a holy dham. So he did that. Now, my question is, why are we not thinking, most of us, let me rephrase myself, why is it that most of us are not thinking that especially wherever Srila Prabhupada visited is a place of pilgrimage, and it is our responsibility to make that place an attractive place where people would understand that this is holy dham and they would like to visit. But we are more concentrated on the holy dhams in India. I'm not saying anything wrong about them, but if we could, we can also create more for other people who may not be able to travel to such a distant destination, depending on your geographical location.
Yeah, I mean, every temple, like I said, even in the house, if one is worshiping, it becomes spiritualized for sure. But where the Lord's pastimes took place and the Lord appeared has a special significance, and there's a certain, I guess, a special benefit to come visit the holy dhams. Although, like Prabhupada was in New York and Second Avenue, and it was throughout the world, in Africa and Australia, and you're right, they're all holy places wherever Prabhupada was in preaching. He was even in Gainesville. Our family's in Gainesville. In '71, he came to the university and gave lecture there. So all these are tirtas, and they're very wonderful. But when you come into an atmosphere where there's 5,000 temples in a little village, and even the rickshaw drivers are, Radhe Radhe, so, and then pilgrims are coming, and the bells are ringing, and everything is surcharged with Srimati Radharani and Krishna Katha, and the whole atmosphere. It just seems to that it creates a whole, surrounding of spirituality, whereas even though it's a holy place in the West, sometimes, because of the rat race and the passion and ignorance all around, it becomes a little bit overwhelming. So Prabhupada would say that you come and charge your batteries and go out and preach. But as you mentioned, I was also there in Gita Nagari. I came to see Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj when I was from New York. We drove down, and in the holy places.
I didn't know you then, Prabhuji. I missed you.
Yeah, I only came for a day. We were doing Sankirtan, but we went to drive down, and we came there to spend a little time in Gita Nagari. But we do need to make all the places where our centers of Krishna consciousness are in a spiritual atmosphere. Like when you walk into the temple and you smell the incense and smell the, you hear the bells and the deities and the kirtans going on, it transports you to the spiritual world for sure.
Yeah.
But
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. It's so beautiful. Actually, I was saying what I was saying because I took a little bit of a cue from Srila Prabhupada's purport. I think is the last paragraph. I think the second sentence of the last paragraph, where Srila Prabhupada says, "There are many rivers in the world which are able to evoke one's sense of God consciousness simply by one bathing in them. And the river Ganges is chief amongst them." So here I'm understanding that Srila Prabhupada is saying is that Ganga is not the only sacred river that can evoke one's sense of God consciousness. There are such rivers all over the world, but the chief amongst them is Ganga. So, in the same way, these great places of pilgrimage where the Lord and his eternal associates had their pastimes may be the chief, but there are other small places which are also equally good. And I think, like you're saying, if we tried to make it appealing as it should, then that might also attract people. So thank you so much for sharing this wisdom with us, Prabhuji, and not just sharing. Our prayer is that we'll be able to do something to make this a reality, that anytime anybody visits any of our temples worldwide, they will feel the difference. They will be transported to the spiritual world. I mean, I did when I was joining the Vaishnava service. When I first went to the temple and I smelled the incense, I said, wow, this is not part of this world, But I think familiarity, since I became a struggling devotee, thinking that I'm now a devotee, oftentimes I don't feel that anymore. But I hope others come and then they have the same feeling as I had when I first visited Hare Krishna temple. And from that, I became attracted. I said, oh, let me associate with these people. So thank you so much, dear uncle.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, it takes time. It takes time with the more we hear, the more we chant, the more we struggle to stay in Prabhupada society and do something for Prabhupada, despite our relentless mind and senses, which are always giving us trouble, and the Adhyatmika, Adhidavika, Adhibodhika. Just that endeavor to continue bettering ourselves, then Krishna and try, like you said, like we said, try to be kind and try to be happy, and people pick up. They want that. They want to be with people who are, very positive and very happy to give Krishna consciousness. Then they'll be attracted by that. This is Krishna's mercy as well.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Prabhuji. And with that, devotees, we're going to humbly request you all to kindly unmute, and we all chant the loudest, and not just loudest, but very joyful Hare Krishna Mahamantra, to express our appreciation to our revered uncle and great uncle to a few of us here, His Grace Panchagauda Prabhu, for sharing his love, wisdom, and precious time with us today. Jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mancha kalpa tarabhya, kripa sindhya evacha, patitanam pavanebhyo,
Namo Namaha.
Pati Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai.
Jai.
Lord Maharish's Grace Panchagauda Prabhu ki jai.